Hello and welcome to Friday's ITV News Meridian.
Your headlines in the southeast. Contact at last, the moment a Ukrainian man living in Kent hears from a friend caught up in the Russian onslaught.
So they took, he just said they took under control the Chernobyl station.
A £100 million bike factory on stilts on Ashford wetlands. Plans are revealed for 4,000 new jobs in Kent.
Also tonight, postage stamps go digital. So how long before the current ones become invalid?
And new beginnings. Join me in this stunning location where spring is in the air, and I've got a very special surprise for you.
Good evening. Many families in Kent and Sussex with loved ones in Ukraine have spent a second anxious day waiting to hear if they're safe.
In a dramatic phone call, a Ukrainian fitness instructor living near Dover managed to make contact with a friend caught up in the fighting.
Well, the day has seen the Russian onslaught intensify with heavy fighting in the capital and other major cities. James Dunham has our report.
From Aylsham, Artem's friend updates him on Putin's deadly offensive.
So they took, he just said they took under control the Chernobyl station.
The nuclear.
Yeah. People have to think now, not just for one country, this is serious, this is nuclear. It's no joke, everyone get affected, everyone.
2 bombs have dropped in the village where Artem's uncle, aunt and cousins on the right of this picture all live.
I want to describe they felt the plane going past the windows. So the way they describes it, just the windows are like rattling, you know, it's not, and the smoke and everything. And when they heard the explosion, they were thinking, everyone, he said to me, Vova Hitruk is my mum's brother, he said that everyone just went outside and laid on the floor.
The brutal reality of war on the continent felt here at home in Kent.
Whenever I was talking about it, it gives me watery eyes, you know, you feel it internally. It's in your guts, you know.
In the Ukrainian capital, Kiev, alarm over fears of a Russian attempt to overthrow the government, with tanks spotted just a few kilometres from the centre, as rocket attacks bring further damage and devastation to a country now on the defensive, as the UK government dismisses the idea of sending British troops in. Artem tells me that is the right response.
Once Putin will know that England goes in, he's gonna do something to England, you know. That's what I think. It's not good, mate. It's good for countries to help, but I think at this point it's pretty obvious. It's quite intense. Where people just die, innocent people, just like any other country when there's a war. It has to be done smart. There has to be something done, absolutely, but it has to be done smart so it doesn't cause any more damage to other countries.
Former Sevenoaks MP and Defence Secretary Sir Michael Fallon says it's a crucial time for us to reaffirm allegiances to avoid worldwide escalation.
There's always the risk that a limited war can get out of hand very quickly. There's a risk of miscalculation. People misinterpret whose missile it is, whose aeroplane it is. Yes, it's an extremely dangerous situation. It's particularly dangerous for those countries next door to Ukraine, to the Baltic states that will feel very vulnerable now. And that's all the more reason why we should be doing everything we can to help reassure our allies in NATO, sending more troops to the other NATO countries where possible, and working as closely as possible with Washington, with the German government, the French government and the others.
What do you make of Putin and his push for power? What do you make about his mental state and what he's doing here?
Mental state. Right, I'll tell you about mental state. Mate, there's no man that would just start doing this. You got to have no heart, no soul, no spirit.
Artem says it's not the Russian people at fault, but President Putin's warped politics. James Dunham, ITV News, Aylsham.
And of course, you can keep updated with what's happening in Ukraine on the ITV News website. In other news, a man from Eastbourne has admitted murdering a primary school teacher in South London. Garage worker Kochi Salamaj pleaded guilty to the murder of 28-year-old Sabina Nessa during a hearing at the Old Bailey this afternoon. Well, Heather Edwards is in our newsroom. Heather, this was a change of plea then?
Yes, that's right, Amanda. 36-year-old Kochi Salamaj changed his plea to one of guilty at today's hearing. The Old Bailey heard that he drove to London from his home in Eastbourne to carry out a premeditated attack on a woman with extreme violence. The garage worker lurked around Cater Park in Kidbrooke in south-east London before targeting 28-year-old Ms Nessa as she passed through on her way to meet a friend on the 17th of September last year. CCTV footage captured the moment that Selimaj swiftly overwhelmed Miss Nessa by repeatedly striking her with a 2-foot-long weapon believed to be a traffic triangle before carrying her away unconscious. Now, it's alleged that Selimaj then strangled her in undergrowth in what was suspected to be a sexually motivated attack. The body of the primary school teacher was found nearly 24 hours later, covered with grass. Selimaj was arrested in Eastbourne and charged over her death days later. The defendant had no previous convictions and was not known to his victim. After today's hearing, Sabina Nessa's sister, Jabina Islam, spoke outside the Old Bailey. She said, "This is justice for Sabina, but it won't bring her back." Kochi Selimaj will be sentenced at a later date.
Heather Edwards, as always, thank you.
A candlelit vigil will be held at Deal Pier tonight in protest against changes to blood testing in the area. The services will move from the town's hospital to GP surgeries in October without consultation, while a public consultation will now open for residents to have their say.
Many of the people are finding that it's very, very difficult to access blood test appointments at their GP services. And this is not to undermine or devalue our GPs, who are very hardworking. But the additional people that were attending the local hospital to have their bloods done for a variety of reasons were going there. Those people are now back into the GP surgeries, and the numbers have increased.
Well, in a statement, Kent and Medway Clinical Commissioning Group says everyone living in Deal continues to have access to blood tests in the town. And since the transition, the number of tests have remained at a steady level.
A motorbike rider who ran a red light at 90 miles per hour in Brighton has been disqualified from driving for 18 months. 24-year-old João Camino Moroni from Burgess Hill performed a number of dangerous manoeuvres and was caught by officers in unmarked police cars in April last year. He then led police on a pursuit around Brighton.
Plans have been unveiled for a large-scale bicycle factory in Kent, creating up to 4,000 jobs.
Manufacturer Brompton wants to build the facility on stilts on wetlands near Ashford. The company intends to invest £100 million with the aim of producing 200,000 cycles every year, as Tom Savides now reports.
This floodplain on the outskirts of Ashford could soon be transformed into a major manufacturing hub for a British bicycle company. Brompton want to build their headquarters and a factory here, an economic boost creating up to 4,000 jobs.
It's going to not only attract jobs, it's going to attract high-skilled jobs, engineering jobs, a lot of apprentices and things of that nature. And when you look beyond the factory and the ancillary jobs that will be created, it's a marvellous opportunity.
The company currently produces 80,000 bikes per year. That could rise to 200,000 if and when the facility is built. It comes at a time when cycling is becoming increasingly popular.
We cannot continue with cities full of square metal boxes. We need to rethink our cities. This product, the humble bicycle, is so relevant today. We've got electrification, we've got technology now, and we need to think of people's well-being. We need active travel. We need cities that are safe and clean. And the most efficient product ever made is right there. And somehow, for 50 years, we forgot all about it.
A planning application for the site behind me is expected to be put in April. If approved, work should begin next year, with the factory and headquarters built by 2026. Around £100 million will be invested in this site. As the area is wetland, the new buildings will be built on stilts. Staff and visitors encouraged to cycle, walk or take public transport. No car parking bays are envisaged.
Ashford is one of the most high-growth centres in the whole of the southeast. It's got land, it's got a great young workforce, Population's grown by 20% over the last 10 years. So there's no better place commercially to put in. Geographically, Kent's got lots of advantages with its proximity to London and to the ports.
As we grapple with climate change, this factory with its pedal power is seen as a way forward. Tom Savides, ITV News, Ashford.
Looks very futuristic. Now, a consultation has been launched on proposals to reduce bus services in Kent. It's part of the County Council's plans to cut its supported bus budget by more than £2 million from April. Well, 55 services would be affected, many of which operate in rural areas and across evenings and weekends.
More than 100 council homes in Folkestone and Hythe will be made more energy efficient over the next 12 months. It's thanks to a £2 million government grant. The authority says the work will create green jobs and reduce carbon emissions by more than 350 tonnes a year.
A community litter picking group from Deal has been named as runners-up for an award at the Keep Britain Tidy Network Conference. The volunteers were nominated by Dover District Council in the Little Heroes Award category for their outstanding contribution to the local environment and their efforts to reduce litter. Well done to them.
You're watching ITV News Meridian here in the South East. Still to come this evening.
How a love of horses has transformed the life of this 10-year-old from Sussex, who's tipped to become a show-jumping star.
And it's been a while, but join me to find out what I've been up to and also meet my new co-presenter. That's if I can find him.
Really looking forward to catching up with Sangeeta. And for more on all of our stories, go to itv.com/Meridian. You can call us on 0808 1010 095. And remember, you can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter.
Now to a huge change in the way we send our post, with new stamps that could make it possible to track and trace letters.
Yeah, you may have already spotted some of the new coded stamps around. They look like normal stamps, but with digital barcodes.
Well, the Royal Mail hopes these new stamps will help modernise its services, but it means our non-coded stamps need to be used by the end of the year. Well, with more on this, here's Catherine Walker.
The humble stamp has been given a modern makeover, with a new barcode and a fresh new colour. Printing presses have been working around the clock to get them ready. And in Kent, collector Margaret is keen to see what impact it will have on the industry.
Well, the barcodes will help with security of the stamps, so they'll make it more difficult for people to forge them because the data matrix on it is unique to each stamp. But the stamps they've issued so far are only going to be appearing on our ordinary letters, a Christmas card, a birthday card, an ordinary letter of some sort. Therefore, they're not really competing with packages and parcels that come from Amazon or Hermes, etc.
So what have we got here then?
The prepaid adhesive stamp was first launched in 1840, known as the penny black. Now, 182 years later, these coded stamps mark the start of a new digital age.
If you look at any stamp from any country, you can tell immediately which country it's from or which era it's from. It's in microcosm. A stamp shows the social aspects, the historical aspects of the country of the day.
And research suggests the need for change is long overdue, as the number of people posting letters has been steadily decreasing. In 2017, nearly 15 billion letters were posted via the Royal Mail. By 2019, this dropped to just over 13 billion. And by last year, this number was down again to 9.5 billion letters.
There's a whole heap of companies out there that you can have deliver your parcel, and in a lot of cases so much cheaper, and they'll come to the door and do it. So it has faced a lot of competition. It's also faced a lot of criticism over posts going astray and things like that over the last few years. So I think, like anything, it feels it's got to move with the times.
The new stamps are being printed in their billions here in this factory. The new barcoded stamps each will have a digital twin, and the two will be connected by the Royal Mail app.
Company officials like Nick hope the move will innovate services and keep the postal system relevant.
So each of our stamps is going to have a unique barcode. So every stamp is going to be unique from now on. And that means we can recognise those individual stamps as they're going through our network. It means we can help improve our quality and make ourselves more efficient.
And what about people at home who've stockpiled hundreds of pounds worth of the old stamps that aren't going to be valid anymore?
So first, don't panic. It's a year for people to use up the stamps that they've already got. Throughout that year, they'll be able to fill in a form and ask for those items to be swapped out.
The deadline will be the end of January next year. As nearly 2 centuries after England first revolutionised postal services, our stamps are changing again. Catherine Walker, ITV News.
So I'd better get posting some letters. Now the ITV Evening News continues with the national and international news at 6:30. For more on this, let's go to London and Charlene White.
Understandably, the war in Ukraine dominates our programme this evening. We'll be reporting from the capital on the fight for Kyiv, with Russian forces engaged in close-range battles on the streets. As calls for tougher sanctions continues, from football to F1, major sporting events pull out of Russia. And the fears of the UK's Ukrainian communities as the invasion unfolds with their friends and family trapped. Join us at 6:30.
Thank you, Charlene. And now the sport with Andrew Pate. And Patey, it's a great time to be a Brighton fan.
Absolutely. The Seagulls on course for their highest ever finish. And a new survey says Brighton and Hove Albion delivered the second best fan experience in the Premier League. Almost 3,000 Brighton supporters took part in the fan experience survey, with 30,000 involved across the country. Albion fans praising the warm welcome they get, the quality of the food and drink, and everything from stadium cleanliness to Wi-Fi connectivity. Only Brentford scoring higher.
We were third last year, we've gone up to second this year, which is a fantastic achievement, particularly because we've had such a difficult season with COVID checks, all kinds of restrictions placed on us, difficult challenges for fans, whether to attend games and if they'll be safe and so on. So to come second in the Premier League on the back of all of the challenges is a fantastic achievement.
Brighton hosting Aston Villa tomorrow, while elsewhere, Gillingham's boss Neil Harris says his side need to show a killer instinct when they go to Lincoln after failing to find the net against Wimbledon in midweek. And Crawley are looking to improve their poor home form, having not won there since New Year's Day. Now to a British show jumping star of the future. 10-year-old Lottie Adams from Hurstpierpoint in Sussex has struggled at school, but her love for horses has seen her flourish. I went along to meet her.
Small businesses and local teams, the heart of our communities. eBay sponsors ITV Regional Sport Reports.
When Lottie Adams gets on a horse, she comes alive. That's what her parents say, and they're backing her all the way.
She has struggled at school quite a lot with huge anxiety, and she has genuinely suffered, and without going into huge detail, it's been quite alarming, some of her behaviours, but the point is when she's outside, when she's with the animals, she is just a kind of a person who is completely different and just comes alive, as Georgie said, and she's just so confident and happy. It is brilliant to see. It really is as a parent.
Riding's kind of my thing, and when I sit on a horse, it just feels like I'm meant to be there. It's just it just clicks, and it's like my love.
It's a love that started when Lottie first got on a horse, when she was 3. In more recent years, the 10-year-old winning national events, like the gold she picked up this week at a British show jumping gala. And this is very much a family affair. Her parents and sister Kitty all mucking in, or mucking out when needed, and learning as they go along.
My parents, they don't know much about horses at all, and it's just funny. It just makes me smile when they're on the sidelines saying really silly comments.
What sort of things do they say?
They say like, "Go Adams girls, go, go, go," and then they're like, "Whoa, slow down," and I'm in a jump off and I'm trying to win, and they're like, "Slow down, whoa." It's just hilarious.
Although Lottie is just 10, she can be competing against 18-year-olds. Her coaches, though, say she can go all the way to the top, and her ambition is to appear in the Olympics. The Adams family from Hurstpierpoint, near Haywards Heath, have found it a steep and expensive learning curve, saying they've twice been missold ponies.
Her microchip number didn't match the documents, and we bought a pony that was 7 years older and a different breed. That's how little.
That's a bit of a wake-up call.
We thought it would be a wake-up call, and we've now just ended up in the same predicament, similar predicament with another one that was misrepresented.
They say they have now learnt their lesson, while Lottie is soon to be homeschooled, so she can concentrate on her riding. Her family are looking for sponsorship, particularly if Lottie starts competing internationally. And at this rate, that can only be a matter of time. Lottie Adams, destined for the top.
She really is. She is a beautiful horse, but she's amazing.
Oh, she was, and really brave.
Yeah.
She broke her wrist on Boxing Day, but she was just determined to get straight back onto the horse, and we saw there. Absolutely superb.
Yeah. I mean, you say she's destined for the top, isn't she?
She is.
She's going to be
braver than me.
Yeah, both of us, I think. Yeah, lovely family too. Thank you very much indeed, Andrew. Now, it's been an absolute pleasure and a real honour keeping these seats warm over the last couple of months. But from Monday, exciting times, because Sangeeta will return with a new co-presenter.
Yes, Matt Teal is joining the ITV Meridian team. So guess what? We sent Sangeeta and Matt on a date to a country garden where they've been getting to know each other. Take a look at this.
Meet Matt here at the Italian Garden in Board Hill. This way, I think.
Sangeeta has got to be around here somewhere. This way.
Is this the Italian garden? No, that's the rose garden.
This is a lovely place to meet, but she must be running just a little bit late. These are beautiful. Hang on, is that Sangeeta? The Italian garden.
Matt!
Sangeeta!
How are you?
I'm really well.
Ciao, get it?
Very good. Let's have a
Italian
sit.
garden.
I get it.
Yeah, I know.
Right,
all
let's sit down.
Welcome to ITV News Meridian, Matt Teal. Really wonderful to meet you. Great to be working with you. You must be very excited.
It's really exciting, isn't it? I mean, there's been quite a build-up, but now we get going next week finally, and I can't wait to get started.
What were you doing before this?
So a very similar job in a different part of the country. So I've come from the Midlands, where I was the main presenter at ITV News Central. You know, obviously we work in a very similar way, but different people in a different part of the country. So that's the bit that I've got to get to know a bit more. It was a bit strange because when I started, you've had a little bit of time off as well, but you're back next week too?
Yes, as you know, Matt, and the viewers know, I'm a carer to my brother, and unfortunately my mum was taken ill suddenly, so that meant I was looking after her and him, so I've been really, really busy. You've already been out and about meeting so many people, and I bet you've had so many questions about Fred, because everyone says to me, big shoes to fill.
Do you know what, the amount of emails and tweets I had, big shoes to fill, yeah, and actually I had a lovely email from Fred when it was announced that I got the job, wishing me all the best of luck and telling me how great the team were and how much fun we were going to have, which was really nice as well. But yes, big shoes to fill, but we start on Monday.
I know you love your sport and you're completely cricket obsessed.
Yeah, cricket obsessed, have been since the year dot really. So love all sport, but particularly cricket. So I'm going to bore you to death with that one. I apologise in advance.
That's going to be fun because I know nothing about cricket. I always support India.
Well, that's okay. There's some rivalry there. Obviously, I'm an England fan, so we can do a bit of that. Worcestershire is my county team, but I'm looking forward to getting out to Hampshire, Sussex, all the local teams as well to have a look.
Yeah,
so
Kent.
It's going to be fun. Kent, all of them. We're going to tick them off.
The reason we're here at Board Hill Gardens is we thought we could do some work.
Are you saying this because I brought a picnic? I was told we'd have some time for cake, maybe some fizz.
There's always time for cake, but hold on to it for now.
Okay.
Let's plant a few trees and then we'll come back and enjoy this.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah,
Planting
cake,
next.
Cake. Like
always
it.
time
like
for cake.
It. Always time for cake. Harry, we're here to help.
Hi.
What are you doing?
Hey. So we're planting trees for the Queen's Green Canopy project.
Part of the Platinum Jubilee.
Yeah, marking Her Majesty's 70 years on the throne. So what we're planting here today is 3 elms, Ulmus New Horizon. So we're trying to replenish some of the elms that were sadly lost due to Dutch elm disease back in the 1960s. So we're replenishing them with new disease-resistant elms.
So before the weather closes in, what do you need from us?
Right, so it'd be great if you grab a spade, we'll put the tree in, and we'll put the rest of the soil and get it finished.
Okay.
Okay.
How come Sangeeta gets the tree and I get the
Because
spade?
I have genuinely hurt my back.
Oh, here we go.
You keep digging. Is there a wrong way of doing this? Because we obviously want this tree to grow strong and be here in 70, 80 years
Absolutely. You know what? I think people just, it's not just about digging a hole and putting a tree in. There's a little bit more to it. It's easy, but you just got to think about it.
It's easy for you to.
So one of the #1 sort of mistakes that easy people make is putting the root collar, between the stem and the roots, in too deep. And this root collar needs to breathe. It has that gaseous exchange, so it can't be submerged in water. So having it just in line with the tops of the grass is literally what it needs. So just don't planting it too deep. That's the #1 rule.
Right, good advice. So, Matt, I think this is going to take a while yet.
Whatever makes you think that.
I think we've done a really good job.
It's actually quite straight.
It is really, isn't it? On that note, Matt, here is to new beginnings.
Absolutely. We will be back with ITV News Meridian from Monday at 6.
Hope you can join us. But now, Matt, we've got 2 more trees to plant.
Great.
Come on, bring that spade.
I've got it.
Very exciting times, isn't it? And I know you, like us, have really been missing Sangeeta, so it'd be so lovely to have her back. Matt is lovely. It's going to be a really good team, so make sure you tune in on Monday at 6 o'clock, and hopefully they get the cake as well.
Yeah, so many letters and texts about Sangeeta. It'd be great to have her back. Matt's been with us for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
He's lovely, and you're going to love him too. Right, hopefully this weekend's weather's better than last weekend's.
Hope so.
With all the details, here's Amanda Houston.
Feels like home, whatever the weather. Valent Boilers and Heat Pumps sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Hello again. Hope you've all had a lovely Friday so far. Well, the weather certainly delivered today. It was absolutely lovely across many parts of the region. And the good news is more of the same as we go through this weekend. So we're expecting to stay largely dry out there and settled. There will be plenty more sunshine to come. We're expecting some rather chilly nights, so there will be a frost in places, but overall pleasant conditions indeed. And the reason for it is because high pressure is in control of things. You can see it here. It's blocking these systems working their way towards us. However, as it pulls its way a little bit further eastwards on Saturday, those winds will start to strengthen, but shouldn't really spoil things. For most of us, fine, dry and sunny as we go through Saturday and Sunday. Now, in the meantime, for the rest of this evening and tonight, if you are heading out, it's staying calm out there. It's dry, lengthy clear skies and light winds. That's going to allow those temperatures to turn rather chilly, so there will be some frost in places, may even be a few pockets of mist out there too. So a nippy start to the day on Saturday morning with some frost and some mist in places, but quite quickly you can see here it will perk up. Lots of blue skies and lovely sunshine across the region. It will turn a little blustery as we move through the afternoon, but all in all, a fine picture to come. Highs there of 10 degrees, and that's sea states are moderate. And speaking of which, here are your tide times. You can see high tide at Brighton at 6:38 in the morning, and again it's 7:29 in the evening. So looking further ahead then on Sunday, plenty more sunshine to come and staying largely fine and dry. However, things looking a bit more unsettled from Monday onwards. Bye-bye.
Valent sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Thankfully no wind this weekend, but hopefully sunshine. In just a moment, the ITV Evening News with Charlene White.
Yeah, do join Sangeeta and Matt on Monday for their first show together. But from all of us here, have a good evening and a happy weekend. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.